Good morning. I'm Tim with Not Square Garage, and we got another Not Square project to show you. Today I want to talk a little bit about a micro jig product. You all know that I really like micro jig. I have a lot of their stuff. I have the thing for the table saw, which I don't think I would really use the table saw without that. And I got a few other things here. There's another one of those. And you can see, I mean, I like micro jig. They've got a good product, you know. So that being said, here's the gripper. You saw me talk about that. So that being said, they came out with a new product. I think it's relatively new. I think it's called the MatchFit, but it is this thing right here. And if you've looked at it at all, it's really pretty slick. You put your router on top of it, and it comes with 2 bits. Almost sounds like 2 bits a dollar or whatever, but you get these are 1/4-inch bits, and one is just the regular first cut, and then you make a second cut with the dovetail bit. And then what happens is your micro jig clamps, let me get this out of the way. Your micro jig, they're over here somewhere because we're going to talk about that. The micro jig clamps slide in and out of these slots, so you can kind of make all kinds of jigs or maybe additions to your worktop or whatever. It looked like a neat project, a neat piece of equipment. Like I say, I like micro jig stuff. So I got it. It was hard to get because when you go online, and I've looked for quite a while, and I'm not sure why. Maybe they're selling through the local distributors so well that they're not selling them online, which is okay. I mean, I got nothing bad to say about Microjig. I like the company. I like their stuff. And in fact, I just ordered like $40 worth of something today. I got online and I saw they had some specials running, and I thought, yeah, okay, that's a good idea. But that being said, I want to make some comments about this, and some are good, some are bad. So the first thing is that to do this with the DeWalt router that I have here, which I've had for quite some time, and I'm not a router person a lot, you know, I'm just the average out here in the Not Square Garage having fun doing something other than computers, so I'm learning as I go. But you need one of these plates, and if you can see it, it has a bunch of infinite holes and it fits all kinds of different routers. And then that goes in here, and it has a nice self-centering right there. Keeps your router centered in the middle of that hole there, and then you just run this through here and you're good to go. So let me put that one back down on the floor. And what I did is I set all that stuff up. I thought I knew what I was doing. And I got a piece of I don't know, shelving material that I cut off for a friend, and so it was scrap wood. And if you look here, I made a major mistake when I started with this because my router bit was too deep. It was grabbing me all over the place. I couldn't hold it steady, and I thought, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. But I got better with that, and then I did, as you can see here, I did some tests. You can't really tell it well, but I used the I used the dovetail bit and ran through there. And of course, this piece of wood, I understand. I got a lot of chipping and all that kind of stuff. But one of the things that I noticed, and I was surprised, is here's a micro jig clamp. Okay, that goes in there. I thought, well, you know, I got some Festool stuff. It don't go in. So what I found out, and I was surprised. I mean, I'm sure there's a reason for it. Don't really know why, but this is a Festool F clamp. Doesn't fit. Well, here's a inexpensive, I think, I don't know, PowerTech. They make a lot of stuff. It doesn't fit. So I happened to be down at my wood shop store, and I mentioned it to the guy, and he goes, yeah, that is something that is a problem with that. So I thought, well, okay, I'll deal with that. I carefully measured, and I can show you all my little measurements here, the differences between the clamps, and I bought a bits and bits dovetail bit, and this one that I got is just about perfect, but I think I might need it to be a little bit bigger. Okay, now I'm going to move this out of the way. One of the things that I noticed, and I'm not sure, let me get this out of the way. Bear with me, I'm no photographer, but I'm trying to get some content out there for you. So I thought, well, always a chance to buy a new tool, and I like Festool stuff. So I measured everything, and I ordered this bit from Bits and Bits, and it's a little bit larger dovetail bit. And I cut what you're looking at here. I thought, okay, maybe the material that I was using causes a problem, and I think it does. I got a piece of 3/4 plywood here, and I had some good success with that. One of the things that I noticed is that in all of the, and by the way, when you get it, make sure you read this. This has got a lot of good information in it. It tells you the depth and the speeds to run your router bit at, and I think that's really, really important. It works well. The thing I'm a little bit confused by is that if you look at the photos in here, I'm not going to go through every one of them. I'm just going to try to show an example. And if you look at the YouTube, here's a good one. If you look at the YouTube, it shows running the router from back here to that direction. And everything I know, if you do the old thumb rule, this means that the router bit is turning this way. And if you do the thumb rule this way, it means the router bit's turning that way. So when you're turning that way, I thought that was a climb cut. I think it is. I didn't think you were supposed to do that. So we're back here, and we're going this way, and we're making a climb cut. I thought you should go this way. I don't think it makes a lot of difference, and I'm not sure why. Probably because this is captured, so it can't go anywhere. So that works well. Either way, looks good to me. I don't think it makes a bit of difference. I wanted to look here. There's a couple of things that I wanted to mention, and I can say this for certain because I wanted to make sure I covered something up, is that dust collection for this is very important. Absolutely very important. You've got to make sure that works because these grooves, when you're cutting them, and they mention that in the book. Like I say, I got no complaints against micro jig, just some things I had to learn along the way. It fills these up with dust. So basically what I did is I routed out to the end, took my dust collection and cleaned all that out. Remember, you've got to go from one direction like this and then the other direction back because you're cutting dovetails. And once you do that, you can't go back in the groove again. You'll figure that out when you do it. It's pretty simple. One of the things that I was surprised about is that, I bought this new Festool. I think it's OF 1400 or whatever. 1400. Beautiful router. I want to talk about that in a future. And you know me, I just got to get it because I wanted to get it. I'm sorry. But, so I thought, okay, I'm going to put this on the bottom of this router, right? Like I did on the, like I did on the DeWalt. Doesn't do that. But you got to have that centering. Well, lo and behold, and hopefully I can do this, but if you look at that, Festool, this is a separate piece. It can come out of there. This is really, get out of there. Why don't I want to stand up? that comes out. Comes with the tool. Clamps right on there. Didn't have to buy anything extra. I like it. That's pretty good. So I had that done. However, what the problem is, and you can't make everybody in the world happy, right? Can't make them all. But to get this, I'm over here. To get this clamped, it's really, to find a space where you can clamp onto the Festool router with this jig. Again, nothing against, micro jig. It's hard to find a good spot. I did find a spot. However, if you know about the Festool, you got this device that goes in here, and that's how you get your dust collection. So where that ends up, you can't clamp it. So that being said, what I had to do is follow the router with my dust collection and pull that dust out of there. Okay. Not a real problem, but just something a little different. So I think I covered about everything. Like I say, I do like micro jig stuff, but what I'm concerned about is that even with the bit that I bought, I got to get a little bit bigger. It doesn't go in. It sort of goes in. The micro jig clamp goes right in. So the bit that I got, this one here from Bits and Bits, which I like those people as well. The bit that I got probably needs to be slightly different, and I'm not a wizard on figuring out exactly how to do that. So that's my comments. That's my review. I don't know whether it's a review. This is a neat tool. Find it in your local shop if you can't catch it online. This clamp that I bought is right out there, not hard to find on Amazon. The other thing I was curious about, and I just got this laying right here, is everybody knows that's T-track, right? And I thought, oh, well, maybe it's a standard T-track, but no, it's not. So I don't know. Nice piece of yellow plastic, works out great. Just took a little effort on my part to get a piece that worked out, but I've got a piece now, and I'm sure I can make other pieces in the future. Hope you liked it. Stay tuned. Not Square Garage, we don't know what we're doing, but we're having fun. So laugh a bit with us and stay tuned. I'm going to turn this thing off. Thanks. See you later. Bye.